Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome back to Easy Mathematics. We thank God today is another day. And last time when we met, we did two examples on Venn diagram where we have no complement. Today, we want to also look at the Venn diagram where you have a complement, or we have a number of people that do not belong to any of the given subject, games, or whatever it could be. So let's just go straight forward to the question. Now that we have an idea of Venn diagram, we are left to how to add the complement to it. So the first question we have here, in a class of 36 boys, 19 read Chi, 16 read Arabic, and 5 were not allowed to read both languages. Illustrate the information on the Venn diagram. How many read both Chi and Arabic? Only Arabic. So once we read this, once we were reading, you will notice that we didn't see the phrase at least. So once there is no at least in the question, it means something has been replaced with the at least, telling us that this time there is a complement, and it has been positioned or placed as were not allowed to do none, both of it. So these students, they are in the class, but they didn't read Chi nor Arabic. So we call them complements. So to do this thing, as we know, we have to draw our data or write our data. So I have my solution. I have my data. I'm going to define it as, let the number u, as usual, be the universal set. Then from the question, we have two subjects or two languages they've mentioned. They've mentioned Chi and they've mentioned Arabic. So the first letter T as Chi and the first letter A as Arabic. So definitely we are going to have students that are going to do both, and those that are going to do only and whatever it is depending on the question. So I'll go straight forward and write the number T intersection A, which is both. And since we were told that 5 were not allowed, meaning we have a complement, and we write that as the number T union A prime, and we call them complement for short. Let's do it like this. So we have them, their notation as the number of T union A prime, which means they are in the universal set but do not belong to any of the languages. So with this, I'm going to read my question again and say, in a class of 36 boys, so the total number of boys in a class in terms of universal set is 36. Let's use the blue. Is 36. When you continue, 19 read Chi. Always take good note of this question if you have only and no only. So it says that 19 read Chi. So the 19 that they read Chi, we are going to position them here. And 16 read Arabic. So 16 of them, they read Arabic. So once that we've made our data, we just substitute the values there, then we move on with it. Then we have the N intersection, the number of T intersection A, which is both. Those who read Chi, at the same time, they read Arabic. From the question, they have not given us, but we have to find for it. So we are going to replace it with a variable. Let's say X. Then you were told that 5 were not allowed to read both languages. They were not allowed, but they are in a class. So in a class that they are 36, 19 is reading Chi, 16 is reading Arabic, and 5 were not reading Chi nor Arabic. So we call them complement. In terms of the notation, we are going to write the number T union A prime or complement. And they are what? From the question 5. So with this, we can now draw or illustrate this information that has been given on a Venn diagram. And we know how to draw a Venn diagram. So we have two balls. We have a rectangle. So to label this, our universal set comes here, the number U. From the question or from our data, we have 36. So let's let the first circle take the number T, which is the T. From here, it is 19. Remember, because this is not only, you will record it up here. Then we have the number A, which is Arabic as 16. Also, it is not only, so we record it here. Then, when you continue for the both, T intersection A, which means they belong to T, at the same time belongs to A as the intersection X. We position it here. Then with the complement, we were told that the complement is in the universal set. It is part of the universal set. But it does not belong to the T, nor belong to the A. But it belongs to the universal set. So where are we going to position the complement? We are going to position the complement in the rectangle, not in any of the circles. Because this circle belongs to the number T, and this circle belongs to the number A. But these 5 do not belong to T, nor belong to A, but it is in the universal set. And we were told that everything in terms of the region in this rectangle, their sum gives you the what? The universal set. Good. So now that I know where I am to position my complement, I am good to go. What do we have next? Since the 19 is not only, we were told that you drop it inside, then you subtract the intersection. And this becomes this only, or the region I. The same thing applies to the 16. It comes in, then you subtract the intersection. So we have complete, all regions are complete because we have the region I, we have region I, we have region I, and now we have region IV. And when we started with the Venn diagram, we were told that the same thing, if you add this region plus this, plus this, plus this, should give you the what? The universal set. So I have illustrated my information on the Venn diagram. If you continue the question, it says how many read both T and Arabic, which is the X that we represented with the word both languages. So how do we do or go about it? We were told that the region I plus the region II plus the region III plus the region IV gives you the number of U, which is the universal set. What do we have in the region I? We have 19 minus X. So we position it under I, 19 minus X, plus region I. What do we have at I? We have X. So II, we have X. So plus region II, we have X. Plus region III. What do we have? 16 minus X. So plus region III, 16 minus X. Then plus the fourth region, which is the complement, we have 5. So plus 5. And all this is equal to the universal set. What is the universal set? 36. So we have our universal set as 36. Now that we are done with the substitution, this gives us a simple equation to cancel and solve out. So we have positive X, negative X. Automatically, they will cancel out. Then we have 19 plus 16 minus X plus 5 is equal to 36. Now we cancel out this negative X plus X because the coefficient of this X is 1. And the coefficient of this X is also 1. So negative 1, you owe 1. Positive 1, you have 1. If I pay, I am not owing. Me too, I'm not having any money on me. So we say 0. So we just cancel them what? Out. So to continue with the equation, we can put this and this together. Or say group like terms. So to make the calculation simple or easy for me, I'll put this and this together. And 19 plus 16 is going to give us 35. So we have here as 35 minus x plus 5 equals 36. Again, we can put this and this together, giving us 40 minus x is equal to 36. When this and this gives you 35, when you add the 5, this is plus 5. When you add it to the 35, you are going to get 40. Then what do? You group like terms. So grouping like terms, since x is negative here, the 40 will join, giving me 36 minus 40. Minus because the sign here is positive. When it crosses the equal to, it becomes negative. So I have here negative x is equal to 36. 36. I'm to take away 40. Look at how huge 40 is. And you have to take it from 36. It's not possible. So we just exchange it and bring our answer with a negative and say negative 4 as our answer. But since we are having negative x, we will divide both sides of the equation by negative 1 to get rid of the negative x. And that gives us x is equal to 4. Now the question is, what is x? From our data, we said let x be the number of students that studied both subjects, or that read both languages. That is Chi and Arabic. So if x is 4 here, then the number of students who read both subjects are 4. So we state our answer in C. Therefore, 4 students read both languages. And we are done with the number BR. We didn't label it. Yeah, sorry. So we are done with the number BR. This is the answer for the number BR. The number of students that read both Chi and Arabic. When you continue, you have to calculate only Arabic. And last week's class, we explained what the only Arabic means and the other ones. So only Arabic simply means the student that read only Arabic and Chi is excluded. So the only Arabic is going to be the region II. Region II is the only Arabic. So to calculate for only Arabic, we are going to take the region I, and what do we have as region I? We have 16 minus x. Region I. This is the third region. 16 minus x. And what is x? X is 4. So in place of x, what do we write? 4. So 16 minus 4 is equal to 12. So how many students read only Arabic? 12 students, and we are good to go. So once we have been able to calculate all, we can redraw our diagram and position the right figures there without the variables. So let's try to draw our rectangle here. We have 2 balls. Then our universal set has 36. This is the number of Chi. This is the number of Arabic. So from our table here, this was 19. This is 16. And x, when we calculated, we had 4. So in the first region, we have 19 minus x. X was 4. So if I take 4 from 19, I'm left with what? 15. So it means this region is 15. Then this x was what? X is 4. If you take it out, you have 12. Then the complement, don't forget, this question is having a complement. Also position it there. Now you will notice that if you put this region plus this region and this region and this region, if you put all together, you are going to get the universal 36. So the boys that are in the class, they are 36. 19 are reading Chi. 16 are reading Arabic. But 5 do not read this, neither read the other one. And this is how we solve a question or a Venn diagram with a complement. We apologize for making it like that for you. And that's how we do for that. Let's try the last question and we shall call it a day. Number 2, it says that in a school of 50 people, so in the school there are 50. 15 study English only and 20 study French only. 5 students study neither English nor French. Illustrate the information on the Venn diagram. How many students study both subjects? Find the number of students who study French. Now, if you are to answer, try to locate the key words there. When we're reading, we had no at least, which means, would there be a complement or no complement? But the question said, 5 study neither English nor French, which means they didn't study French, they also didn't study English, meaning they are complements, but they are in the class or they are in the school. So, in a school of 50, 15 study English only. Also take note of that. 20 study French only. Also take good note of that. So that when you are writing your data, you know where to position the values. So to give my data, I am going to say let the number U or this be the universal set. So universal set. Then the languages or the subjects they mentioned are French and English. So the number F as French. The number E as English. Definitely we are going to get both. So we have the number F intersection E as both. So let's continue here. Since we are having complements, we say the number F union E complement or prime. That is it. So this is the complement or the prime. So we will take the question again. In a school of 50 pupils, so the total people or the total number is 50. So the universal set is equivalent to 50. 15 study English only, not English. So we have to write it as the number E only by writing the number E only as English only. What do we write? 15. This E, the examiner will know that it is English from our data here because we said let the number E be English. Good. When you continue, 20 study French only. Only. So we are going to say the number F only from the question is 20. 5 students study neither English nor French, which means they are complements and they are 5. So now that I have my data, I can go ahead to draw my Venn diagram using my data. Here we go. Since we don't have anything here, you can choose to replace them with a variable. Let's say A, let's say B, let's say Y. The variable. Then you come drawing your diagram. So we have this. 2 balls intersecting. We have our universal set here. The 2 languages, we have French and English. So the number E, you can say. The number F, you can choose. Then we do the intersection. We do the position of values. So the number F, we don't know, but we made a variable A. The number E, we also don't know. So, F is A, B. So we just change it. Then both, we don't know which is the intersection. So we use a variable Y. Then when you come here, you have the universal set as 50. So we put it there so that we'll be able to know it. Then we have the complement. The number of E union F union E prime or E union F prime as 5 in the universal set, but not in any of the circles. So we bring it here as 5. You can even position it here. It's not by force to position it here. It shouldn't just be in the circle, but should be in the what? In a rectangular box. Then here says that 15 study English only. Because the question has made it clear to you that it is only, just go straight forward. English only. This is English. You put it there for them. 15. French only. Given to you. 20. Put it there for them. If it wasn't only, just as we did here, it will go up, bring it down, subtract the intersection. But since here it is only, once you bring it in, don't subtract the intersection. Why? Because they study the subject. Only that one. They didn't include this one. If they included it, the person will make it clear to you that 15 study English, meaning there is French in it. So since the person is only, just bring it here without subtracting. Good. And this is the data. This is a Venn diagram you have to draw to illustrate this information. You have this nicely written, and the examiner will give you the full scores. But when you continue, it says how many students study both subjects? And we have replaced both subjects with Y. So we have to solve for II. And to solve for II, we were told that all the regions summed together is equal to the what? Universal set. So we can say the number which is the universal set is equal to region I plus region II plus III plus region IV. IV because we have the fourth region. What we have for the universal set? We have 50. So we write that 50 is equal to region I. What do we have? 15 plus region II. We have Y. Plus region III. We have 20 plus the IV. That is the 5. So we can put 15, 20, 5 together. 15 and this will give us 35. Plus this is 40. So we are going to get 50 is equal to 40 plus Y. Group like terms, you have 50 minus 40 is equal to Y. I hope you know why we had a negative here and why there's no positive here. The positive is there, but we just took it off because there's no number in front of the word of the Y. If you subtract what we have 10 is equal to Y. So if you turn it, we have Y as what? 10. So this Y was used to replace the number of students who study both subjects. So we are going to state our answer and say, therefore, 10 students study both subjects. Then you've concluded on the II. When you continue with the III, it says, find the number of students who study French. Here you have to find the number of students who studied French. And the French is calculated as, what is the French? This is the French. So this is a circle for French. We are going to add region I plus region III. This studied French only. But this one, they studied French, at the same time also studied English. So if you want the number of students who studied French, these people studied French, so you add them to this one. So what we have at II? We have Y plus III. What do we have there? We have 20. But when we calculated, we had Y as 10. So this is 10 plus 20, which is equal to 30. So if your Y is wrong, it will affect your French. So we say, therefore, 30 students study French. Then like that. So to make our work more nicer, after solving everything, redraw the Venn diagram so that you don't write your variables. So to redraw, we have our Venn diagram, our rectangular shape, two balls intersecting. Then we have here as a number of universal sets. The first one, we use English. Second one, we have the number of French. So now that we've solved for the values, we'll not write variables. 15, we record it here. Down the y, we solve to get 10, we record it here. Then here we have 20. We have a complement of 5. Then just add this to get 25. When you add this, you are going to get 30. Then you notice that this plus this plus this plus this is equal to the universal set. We don't add this because this is not a region. We add only the regions. Region I, U. And you have this as your answer. And this is how we solve questions. A question with the Venn diagram having a complement. We'll meet God willing Friday and we'll finalize on this one a question with complement where we have, or they have to trick us. They wanted, or they tricked us, and they just want us to reason and get the answer. Once we get the concept, anyhow the question will be positioned or placed, we'll be able to tackle it because we have the idea already. We have the concept, so we can just produce our answers wherever the position or place the question. See you, God willing, next week Friday, same time, same place. Bye bye.